Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. This is VR Master League. Our Sunday matches do continue, this time on VRML Channel 2 here on Twitch, featuring a match between Genesis and Flare. Just about ready to start. All players are in fact here in the lobby in the private match, so just awaiting for the beginning. Now Flare coming in here off of a hot few weeks, as I'm sure most people do know at this point. They've had some great matches upsetting the likes of King Gorillas, Illuminati, and now Infinite as of this week. The only top 4 team that they haven't beaten is Joker, which last Sunday they did have a match against Joker. But that aside, I mean, going up against what are the top 4 in ranks and winning 3 of those matches, and a couple of them in definitive fashion, definitely no small feat at all for Flare. Especially those Illuminati and Infinite games, just really impressing and coming out with some fire. So their record currently sits at 8-5 with a 1260 MMR. Meanwhile, for the Genesis folk here, coming in with 1170 MMR. And a record of 5-5, so evened up, having themselves a pretty good season, but this is sure to be one of their toughest tests so far against a hot team like Flare. For Genesis, just rolling in here with a roster of Keith, H-Money, SD, Knife Rich, Caden. Meanwhile, for Flare, they're going to continue with their roster of Game, Grumpiest Broom, Voodoo, and Chrome Platypus. That's been what they've rolled with the last few weeks, and they've really been successful, no denying that. So as this game gets underway here, starting off what is a large series of games in North America for the rest of the night, the tight pass, and right there was a beauty from H-Money to Caden to put it in. For a moment there, I almost thought that I was watching a Flare play, because that is where Flare has been finding a lot of success against these top teams, with just wonderful passing, really tightly woven ones with the across the barrier passes, the cross passes, the up high players here going up now, and there it is for a Flare getting on the board now from Voodoo. I was about to say, a lot of the passes from Flare, you'll notice they do go towards that ceiling area. Definitely they do put some barrier passes in there, but especially between Game and Voodoo, they really like playing up there on the ceiling, getting those angles right on the goalies from beneath them, and it's bought them some success. H-Money here, throwing it to the hands of Grumpy, and he'll just stump him for a 5th point here. Just a minute and a half or so into this round. A couple goals here for a Flare, 5-2. But I was mentioning H-Money because H-Money's been, well, quite the money with those shots all over the floor on offense. He's really been great in that category, leading his team at times here. And coming in for a play, it will be Game. Just going to go for the cross pass, and there it is, but maybe too soft in the shot, just off for Voodoo. They'll have a little chance here to get it back, and they do. I should say, Orange does. But Flare taking it back, Voodoo trying to collect, but another slap out and tap out as the disc just goes from possession to possession. No one really maintaining for all too long as it goes into the bottom here. And right back to Keith. So that will be a pass right there, short range, resetting, and then throwing it out to the opposite side as they look for their stacks. Coming in with some heat here and maybe looking for the 3, but just missing. And that could have tied it up. That was a great look off of some fast boost, but did not manage to convert. So instead, we'll just have to roll out to the midline where it will be Knife Rich contested by the Flare defense. And potentially throwing it indeed right away to Grumpy. So that's a clear. And again, to the boost. So Disc getting knocked here into the outer edge, trying to take it over with a great pass to Chrome Platypus. And he puts it in for the 7-2 lead now, up by 5 here. About 4 minutes, or 3 minutes rather, off of this first round. And that's, again, where Flair has definitely excelled, especially week over week. Their growth in the passing department has just continued to get better and better. Here will be another pass, turning into just a perfect shot from a three-point position. Another open three, conceded. And Flair piling it on. But there you have it, playing some defense, getting the intercept, and just found the open man. Now, he wasn't that open. There was a defender relatively nearby. His head was turned for just the briefest of moments, but you know, that was enough time for the shot to go through. That's all they needed. Here again, another turnover. That one will not be in for the goal. But right back to Chrome Platypus. So they have another chance, going for the bother on the goalie while one comes up from the ceiling. Definitely not appealing for the defense of Genesis. But Flair continuing their role here on the coordinated play. He had a stun on the goalie. He had a good pass to the ceiling. And the rest is history. 12-2, up 10 quickly for Genesis. Really looking to get this through to the other side. The last few times now, they've just been stifled on this side of the floor. They do at least manage to get that one through, but look who's in the back line there now. Will be Grumpy playing it deep, well prepared for the clear. So some denial defense definitely at play on Flair's behalf, as Team Genesis just trying to take position again. They have one deep in the goal. A couple just trying to bother out here, but looks like Flair will get themselves a roll-up on a cross pass. There it goes for the power dunk from Chrome Platypus. Can kind of see that one unfolding from a ways out there. The eye contact between the two teammates. And the defense just a bit off balance, not really able to get back into the bubble in time to cover all the offensive players for Flair. So Flair just taking advantage of the easier opportunity before the defense could get back. Now off of that one, we will have a wild duller appear, but there's nothing dull about this shot on the goal. It's Keith. For some reason, Duller Ranger appearing over on the blue team in the middle of the VRML match.
I was invited by Jay.
So Duller parting ways as he makes his cameo here on the stream. No harm done, however, as players kind of laugh it off. And that shot will go up, or the pass rather, go up for the shot. Voodoo right back to the pass. Game. Just as he's stunned out by Knife Rich, was still able to unleash the shot on the goal and go up now 16-5. About 4 minutes left here in the first round. And just preparing to launch out again. See if they can convert on some opportunities here. The last time that H-Money and Co. jousted, they did manage to get it through, but not that time. Again, stifled in the defense. You can kind of see H-Money wave his hands in the air, kind of in dejection, as the defense just continuing to really bother. And Flair, it's their strength. What can you say? They're great at passing, but even the defense, that's been winning them games just as much as anything, because they're really aggressive up there, especially with guys like Grumpiest Broom playing the mid lane. I mean, he's always there for seemingly every opportune grab and intercept. He'll brawl you right in the outer edge of the bubble, steal those discs, and then clear it. And it's really just been a cohesive effort, both offensively and defensively, for Flair over these last few weeks. And going in for maybe another score. Tight angle is just going to roll out into the midfield as the stacks go through, and Voodoo does get it back first. So there you go. They get the disc, and there's a separation as trying to cover up these passes. But at the moment, just all the players from Flair kind of uncover as they approach the goal. So off balance and on balance where the shot is Grumpiest Broom. But at the moment, the passing play definitely getting the defense here of Genesis in a bit of disarray, because you have a lot of these Flair players passing frequently, and then they're encroaching on that goal, but kind of left uncovered. So really, they're maneuvering around kind of at will so far. A good dodge by H-Money there as he bounces around and looks for that pass, does get it through. So here it goes now for Genesis, an opportune time to maybe get a goal. Great delivery on the pass. A dived out goalie will result in the shots from Knife Rich. Rich pass, richer shot, and that's what they wanted here in these final couple minutes of round one. The lead definitely in the favor of Flair and the rhythm, but perhaps that one will get them a little bit of confidence here for a Genesis as they roll out on defense. So the stack's forming up and now kind of disbanding. There's a good cutoff, pressuring hard on a Game, but Game does manage to slip through. Very slippery player, tricky player, going in for a great grab, saved out by H-Money, putting a cork in it as the disc gets cleared, and players all across the floor boosting for it, trying to cut off any potential lanes on passing lanes. There's Keith. But on the other side, it will be a nice pass gently up top to Voodoo. Voodoo looking for a lane to back pass it downwards, in fact, towards Chrome Platypus. One more cross. Great delivery and recovery for the two-pointer. Chrome Platypus, the assist. And right now, it's a look at that, actually, Game. 9 points for Flair, but also 4 assists, so leading not only with points, but even the passing. Definitely feeling good tonight, on points for him. All right there. Speaking of, though, he does get stunned, so maybe not feeling good on that, but a consolation because his teammate does recover the disc. Couldn't quite make the shot. Rebounded headbutt attempt will not go through. Playing it a little bit loose there, but with time definitely on their side, just trying to maybe get that extra point. They could not, but a rebound still gets them to 22-7 here in the first round. Looking really strong as Genesis tries to roll out. Again, Genesis has been a good team this season. Without a doubt. I mean, they're sitting again at a 5-5 record. And it's just, as I also said beginning this stream, this would definitely be their biggest test so far, I think, of the season. Genesis did play in the first week, opening up their season against Ignite, as that one just goes off the head, it looks like, of H-Money. 22-7 it'll end here in favor of Flair, round 1. But yeah, so again, just full credit to Genesis because they've been good. They've been winning, again, 50% of their games so far, but with Flair just on a hot streak at the moment. So definitely being put to the test in the first round for them. Because they have had games against the likes of Ignite to open up Genesis this season. They've played Wireless Jacks, Nay Plus Ultra, Spaghetti, Milk. I mean, they played some really tough teams, for sure. But Flair continuing their streak here, and it's, as I mentioned about a minute ago, Game leading it with 9 points, 4 assists, 9 stuns. Grumpiest Broom with 2 points and a save. Voodoo with 2 points, 1 assist, a steal, and 5 stuns for Chrome Platypus. A lot of stats in every category here, just about. 7 points, 3 assists, 2 saves, and 4 stuns. So between Game and Chrome Platypus, definitely the 2 standouts here across the stat line, at least. Points and assists. For Genesis' side, it's Keith with 3 points and 3 stuns, H-Money with 2 points, 2 saves, 1 steal, and 6 stuns. Knife Rich with 2 points, 2 saves, 4 stuns, and Caden with 2 points, 1 assist, 1 save, and 5 stuns to round it out. Also putting in some nice stats for Genesis there on his end. As this one will go off the joust and into the hands and goal for H-Money. Sorry about that. My controller had stopped responding briefly. But in any case, a good launch out here for H-Money and co. Because that is, in fact, the first 2 to Genesis. So as I said, towards the end, they got those goals. Maybe not enough to win that first round, but if they can at least find some confidence, some rhythm based off of that, they could be in good shape. But right here, maybe another turnover about to be caused. We'll see. Caden taking it away, does get rid of it, and the goal is not totally open, however, because Grumpy was already on the retreat as soon as that disc got loose. So heady plays from him, is really trying to play that positioning game well, which is something he definitely excels at. Voodoo going for the back pass. A good stack here from Genesis, bothering these passes, but now getting split apart. So rolling up the floor. Game bringing it here with Voodoo and a Chrome Platypus. Top and bottom coming in from below. It will be Chrome getting the assist from Game. So that pairing of players for Flair continue to just put their stamp on every single offensive play, it feels like, for Flair so far. So as Genesis launches out here, game all tied up across the first 2 goals in the first 2 minutes. It will be a Caden approaching. Maybe actually biding his time, giving a little bit of patient play. And looking for Keith on the bottom. They also have Caden now cutting. They have the back pass. So this is some really nice patience from the Genesis players. But unfortunately, that shot will almost go, and it's going to be tapped in by Voodoo. But it was a good patient play. That one may have been online. Hard to tell from my camera angle, but either way, guaranteeing the goal was Voodoo. So let's see what Genesis does here again, if they can get some more of those passes. That one kind of rushed. The defense pressure a little bit nearby, but they do actually find a nice bounce pass by the end of it. So anchoring down from the corner, looking for that pass. There's Keith, and at last gets the goal. Tied up again. Much better start to this second round for Genesis for sure. Good passing plays between Knife Rich there and getting it to Keith. Everyone who's tuning in today as well, thank you for joining us, whether it's on this channel, VRML 2 or VRML 1, because on the other channel we also have Ignite facing off against Adrenaline. Adrenaline being one of those newer teams by name, some new competitive players to it. Certainly familiar with Echo Arena, just not competitive play. Going in for a competitive play, it's going to be Chrome Platypus. Voodoo found him there on the cut, and now they'll go back up by 2 again, but some real back and forth action going on between these two teams in round 2. So let's see now if Genesis can keep up and just keep trading off. I think long term, trying to trade goal for goal with a team like Flare is a bit tough, just because they have so many offensive threats and three-point shooters. And it can be dangerous, but you know what? So far, just holding their own. Looking to maybe force a round 3 here off a good dive now. Chrome and Grumpiest Broom actually talked about him and how he loves to dive just the outer edge of the bubble frequently. He causes so many turnovers every single time I watch or cast one of these streams for Flare. It's always Grumpy causing those turnovers just on that outer edge of bubble. He has a very good sense of when he needs to dive and pressure with the brawls. And he just gets the disc for his team an awful lot of times because of it. So Chrome losing the disc here, losing the handles just briefly, right beyond the reach of Knife Rich as Game goes for a pass to that corner. And Voodoo has it stolen there. Great grab by H Money as he tries to stack up with Keith. See if they can get it to the other side. It looks like the faster booth indeed going to the hands, perhaps, of Genesis. They do get that one. Nest pass, duck through, soft shot off the stun, so couldn't convert, and Game clears it through. So beautiful defensive play, but ultimately will be the offense for Chrome Platypus and Flare as they go up by 9 now with a couple consecutive goals. Really nice work by Genesis on the other end. It was just that dive and that stun that kind of disabled them and enabled that goal here for Flare. And again, Chrome Platypus now 14 points along with 4 assists. He is really feeling good tonight as H Money tries to avoid all that defense getting near by him. Caden, bottom of the floor. Voodoo trying to bother, but no bother as he'll just reset to Knife Rich. So there goes the pass. Oh, just over the hands, unfortunately. Looked like the player had been anchored to the floor and maybe just misjudged the distance a little bit. But first on it, good job to Genesis and Keith. So they were really ahead of it and recollected fast to avoid being damaged by any mistakes. You know, that's how you make up for it sometimes, just by good positioning and good speed. A fast stack will undo an awful lot of mistakes in Echo Arena. So Genesis doing a good job there. The overshoot, however, will go to the hands of Flare now as Game tries to maneuver around, finds the beautiful pass, weaving it to Chrome Platypus, who will continue to pile on points. Meanwhile, Game continuing to pile on assists. He's up to 6.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
So Genesis launching out here after trading goal for the first few minutes. The last few minutes now, we've seen a few goals in a row coming in from Flare. See if they can put a stop to the bleeding with just a hesitation move from Knife Rich. Really nice on that one. So just a good pass, a nest delivery. He kind of felt the hairs on his neck stand up, so just a little bit of a juke move, hesitation to catch the goalie. Just off balance enough to find the 2 points. And 11-6 here for favoring Flair, but Genesis a nice roll there on offense. Now going on the defensive end, allowing Flair, it looks like, to bring it up the floor. And their stack now breaking apart, but now maybe a little off balance as a result. So there will be another passing play, this time Chrome to game. That duo is just all over the boards tonight. Seems like every play, it's either one of them scoring or one of them assisting. Most of the time, both. But yeah, in that case, you saw kind of that Genesis stack getting a little bit broken up at the mid-line, so it enabled effectively a 2v1 for Flair. And it's just a little miscommunication on that end, perhaps. But trying to do the same, maybe, as they go for some juke moves. It will be a delivery from Keith over to Caden. And Keith getting it right back eventually, and the back pass. So again, I do like the passes and the mentality that Genesis is adopting here, especially with their passing plays. They're really looking for the right moves. They're trying to be patient when appropriate. A team like Flair is extremely tough to score on, and they get scored on right there. Look at that good pass. Keith to Caden, and that is mighty okay then. More than okay, in fact, because, yeah, it's 2 minutes left. Still within reach. Only a 5-point game. So, really, if Flair makes any mistakes, if Genesis causes any mistakes, forcing some turnovers here, they could still be in this for sure. Chrome Platypus will be slightly bothered going up there for the ceiling pass, but right back to him, and couldn't convert the shot. Voodoo had a good look, but the defense all collapsing pretty quickly. He'll still get another chance. Voodoo getting the pass right back, this time finding Game, and that just might seal it. 15 to 8. I'm getting tongue twisted by things that aren't tongue twisters today, it seems like. But yeah, beautiful play there. And the second opportunity, it bought them what they needed. So as H-Money rolls out here and has actually stolen from Game, that goes in for 3. Just tough turnaround there. This one definitely going to go into Flair's hands as we wind down the first minute. I was almost waiting for that to happen eventually, just because on a lot of these rollouts for Genesis, the QB has been holding onto those discs instead of passing it right away. And to his credit, the H-Money, I believe, he's avoided a lot of those boosted players, but kind of at this level of play, it's extremely risky. And players are much too good at these days for compensating. So if you don't get rid of those discs, the juke move is extremely dangerous to pull off. It's good to use, as that one just gets abused, taken out. Grumpiest Broom, the clear, the boost, but into the pocket, knocked loose. Still has maybe an angle, but there goes Caden. But yeah, just mentioning those rollouts. It's one of those things. If you pull off the jukes, it's great to do every now and then, but if you do it multiple times in a row, people are smart. Players adapt fast at this level of play, so you can't go to the same well too many times. But with one last save on that one. Nice one. It's 18 to 8. And that will be the 2-round victory here for Flair as they continue to roll on, impressing. Genesis had a much better second round, looking really, really good and collected. They were trading goal for a little while there. Flair started pulling away right around maybe the 5 or 6 minute mark. But despite that, as our stats do get wiped, but hopefully we got that on stream. But despite that, they still had some great passing. I like what I saw from Genesis in terms of the back passing, some of the cutting passes. They had some good anchored ones to the nest and to the shoulder areas of the bubble. I think just the only things that really gave Flair the heavy advantage, if nothing else, is just some of those defensive rollouts. You kind of had players in Genesis not really able to effectively cover too many people, so Flair did actually just move in for a lot of those 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s on the goalkeepers for Genesis. So I think getting caught out on that end bought Flair a lot of opportunities. So, defense hurt them a bit. The offense looking pretty good for Genesis overall. I mean, being able to score 15 points between the 2 rounds against a team like Flair is no small feat whatsoever, especially when you look at some of the matches that Flair has had recently. Again, just holding the likes of like Infinite. They faced Infinite on Friday, held them to 11 points in 2 rounds. Meanwhile, I mean, Genesis came in here, scored more than that. So again, it's not anything to shake a stick at. They're just a very good team and will now improve their record to 9-5, it looks like. And for Genesis, just falling slightly below the 50% threshold there with 5 wins and 6 losses, but definitely nothing to be too disappointed in for Genesis at all. And they still have another match up ahead, coming up in roughly half an hour. It would seem. Yeah, so there will be a match between Genesis and Orbit. That's scheduled in 30 minutes from now for that start time. Orbit, another strong team. And therefore, that's what I mean. It's not a coincidence that Genesis is being faced against these upper teams, because they have been having some success on this season. So we'll see how it goes there with Orbit. Orbit's another one of those teams that can just be extremely dangerous, if not occasionally streaky, although I feel like after the first couple weeks of play, Orbit's definitely started looking like kind of their consistent selves from preseason. But yeah, will be a tough matchup, and Genesis looking to prepare over the next half hour for that. So just taking a look quick too and seeing the status of the other game over on VRML 1, just on how that might be going. Looks like it is over, so I assume it must have been a 2-round thing, perhaps, because I think that both games started around the same time, so they also ended around the same time. There you go. But yes, until next time, which is to say in half an hour here on VRML 1 and 2, over on VRML 1, it will be Guinness versus Deception, just by the by. Casted by Sir Dimwee and So Much for Subtlety, and maybe Sputnik. I'm not sure, though. Then here on VRML Channel 2, it'll be Genesis versus Orbit. So I'll see you guys again real soon. Have a good afternoon.